Hey guys, this is Neil Holland again with Big League Tips, and today we're going to talk about the curveball grip. As you go throughout these videos, you'll kind of know that these are the grips or certain things that I have done to make me feel comfortable. So we would love some people's feedback just to help out everyone on the website to find different tips and what's comfortable for you. For my whole career, have only thrown one curveball. I do know a couple more that kind of know what they do, but the curveball that I have used my whole life is where we have what I would call the upside down horseshoe of the ball, just like this, and we would put the outside of our middle finger on the inside part of the seam, right where it starts to curve. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. The outside of the middle finger, right on the inside part of the seam, just like that. And the reason I take it up to around this curve is because that's the size of my hand to reach all the way around on this side for my thumb to touch this seam just like this. For my curveball, I like to have a lot of whip and a lot of spin on it. Some even curveballs will have a little bit of a tighter movement than mine, but this one right here felt very comfortable for when I turned it. My middle finger would grab that seam so it wouldn't fall out of my hand going too far to the right, and then I kept my thumb right on that seam for accuracy purposes. I do know a lot of people that like to have their thumb just a little bit lower, just like this, where it's just right on the leather on the bottom, just like that. Okay, I know a lot of guys with higher arm slots that can kind of keep their hands more behind the ball would actually prefer to have their thumb underneath. If you have a little bit more of a 3/4 to almost sidearm action for your curveball, having that thumb on that seam just like that will kind of help that ball not slide out of your hand. If you're a righty, not to slide too far out to the right, or as a lefty, to make sure that the ball doesn't slide too far out of your hand to the left side of the plate, okay? This pitch, compared to a slider, is a slower, more loopier type of off-speed pitch to throw. Compared to your fastball, it should be about anywhere between 10 to 12, sometimes even 15 mile-an-hour difference based on your spin. Even if you are 3/4 or over the top, you more have a up to down, possibly even a 12 to 6 type of curveball spin. On that pitch, if you are facing a righty, we're supposed to have a little bit of a hybrid of the ball dropping from the higher part of his chest to belly button, down to his knees. And also, if we're throwing from a higher 3/4 arm slot, that ball will also slide a little bit from right to left as well, based upon your arm slot. This is a good pitch to throw any part of the count, but mainly when if you're throwing this at someone of a younger age, more as if we get ahead with a lot of fastballs and the hitter starts to pick up and get his timing down on your fastball based on how fast you're throwing, to kind of mix in a curveball later as a 1-1 count or a 1-2 count, and definitely even an 0-2 count, where we can kind of start that up at his waist and let that start to bounce off of home plate, hoping he swings at that ball. A lot of questions I get is, what's the earliest age to throw a curveball? And I actually don't care about the age that you would like to start your son or daughter with curveballs. It kind of depends on his strength of his arm and also the amount of curveballs that you'd like to throw. Throwing one curveball does not hurt the elbow, but throwing multiple curveballs in a row, also depending on how hard you grip that ball, can start to hurt your ligaments and UCL in your elbow. And so I even have 9-year-olds in here that do throw curveballs. We would never throw over 3 or 4 curveballs in here. I make sure that it's a very safe type of curveball grip and spin. And then when you get older, you are allowed to throw a few more curveballs every now and then, but just to make sure that if you do want to learn this type of grip at a younger age, just to make sure that a coach or a parent is also monitoring your son to make sure he's not in the basement or the backyard throwing 100 curveballs in a row. We don't want anything like that, but even at a younger age, 9, 10, 11, if it's an 0-2 count and there's 2 outs and you feel like spinning a ball in there, that will not hurt the elbow. So just make sure that is monitored. As you get older, that should definitely be a pitch. Once the footage goes back to 50 or 54 feet and then 60 feet, a pitch that we should definitely be using to make sure the hitter feels off balance and to get a few more strikeouts that way. Feel free to comment on any more grips that we have. Some guys do like to go across the seam just like this, where the horseshoe is technically down, and we would put our fingers, the outside of the middle finger, on the seam like this, and the thumb would still wrap around. I never threw that one because I didn't like the bottom of my finger on a seam like that. Made it feel a little bit different, but I know a lot of my friends, high school, college, and pro ball, that definitely prefer this grip as well for a curveball. We also have a knuckle curveball. A knuckle curveball I have a lot of my friends use, where they still have that middle finger on the outside part, but they have their their index finger up on the ball like that. I do teach this sometimes at a younger age because guys tend to keep their hands behind the ball just a little bit too long, and they forget to turn it, and it just looks like a two-seam fastball. And so actually having that index finger up helps you turn that ball and get that consistent 12-6 spin to help for strikeouts or ground balls or anything like that. Let me know if you have any more questions about it. Feel free to check out the digital coaching on the website or anything else on the website too. All right, thanks guys.